Hello and welcome to English in Brazil. Olha que convidada muito especial que a gente tem aqui hoje. Ela já vai se apresentar. Eu tô aqui no consulado dos Estados Unidos em São Paulo para fazer um bate-papo em inglês, porque eu sei que vocês amam esses conteúdos 100% em inglês. Então, para você praticar o seu listening e aprender mais sobre essas questões de diplomacia entre Estados Unidos e Brasil, você vai ter algumas perguntas aparecendo aí na tela também e as respostas estão no comentário aqui fixado para você checar aí a sua compreensão. So, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much. I feel very honored to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
I would ask you to introduce yourself.
My name is Regine Spears. I am the Educational and Cultural Affairs Officer here at the U.S. Consulate General in Sao Paulo. I've been here for a little longer than 1 year, and I am responsible with my team here for making sure that we support and advance U.S. policy priorities related to education, culture, and the information space. So a lot of media work too.
Yeah, and you speak Portuguese, don't you?
Falo.
Tem que falar um pouquinho em português aqui também.
Sim, podemos falar em português, mas a ideia hoje é falar em inglês, né?
Mas a gente tem provas aqui de que ela também aprendeu second language. Actually, it was your third or fourth. Oh my God, you're a polyglot.
I try.
Okay, let's start talking about this learning process.
Sure.
How did you learn Portuguese and the other languages?
So as a U.S. diplomat, we actually have a school that helps us learn foreign languages that are required for us to be able to do our jobs. So in the case of learning Portuguese, I attended a very intensive Portuguese language course. That was my only job, was to learn Portuguese.
Oh, really?
So full time, all day from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Portuguese classes, homework, my own activities. So listening, practicing speaking, listening to music, watching novellas, things like that.
What novellas have you watched?
I've never watched an entire novella because they're too long.
Yeah, like months.
I've been watching some of the novellas here now in Brazil.
You like them?
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
But what did you do? Did you have private lessons or group lessons?
Group lessons. So small group lessons.
Online or?
In person.
In person.
In person. So in my case, it was 3 American diplomats and 1 teacher. And every day we sat in a little classroom and we only spoke Portuguese. Wow. So we went from very difficult conversations where we couldn't say very much to at the end of the 6-month period being able to speak somewhat fluently.
Wow. Yeah. So you could learn Portuguese from scratch?
Basically. I spoke Spanish. So Spanish, in my case, Spanish helped and hurt because Spanish and Portuguese are sometimes too similar and it's very confusing. But there are many diplomats who learn languages from zero. So, and they're able to do it pretty well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're never going to sound like a native, but accents are totally fine and part of the charm.
And what does a diplomat do?
We do lots of things. So first and foremost, any diplomat, in my case, my objective is to represent the best of the United States. So I work for the U.S. government and I work in a role, it's called public diplomacy. So my job is to help Americans and in this case, Brazilians understand each other better so that our policy objectives can be achieved. So we do lots of different things. We do programs, we do conferences, we organize meetings, we talk to people. That's really the most important job.
And how did you get here? How did you become a diplomat? What did you have to study?
I love this question.
Yeah.
So our system in the United States is really different from a lot of other countries. And I think it's different in a really good way. It's a very open process that is open to any American citizen who is interested in trying to become a U.S. diplomat. So we have a test that anyone who's interested in becoming a diplomat needs to take. The test is free and it's offered to any U.S. citizen over the age of 18 who is proficient in English. You don't have to even be born in the United States. You can be a naturalized U.S. citizen and apply to be a U.S. diplomat. If you pass that initial exam, then there are many other exams that come after it, but all of it is a free process. It's very transparent. It's very fair. And the goal is to have a diplomatic corps that is as diverse and interesting as the United States, which is a huge country with many different regions and, different focus and different things that make people proud to be American. So I actually had to try several times because it's a very competitive process. I started right after university and I wasn't successful. I tried again a few years later after I went to graduate school and wasn't successful. And then I worked for a few years and tried again when I was in my early 30s. And that's when I had the success that time. It's a process that is, I think, pretty wonderful. It doesn't require studying at a specific university, a specific degree, anything like that. No hard requirements other than U.S. citizen, over 18, speak English.
That's interesting. And what did you study in college?
So I studied literature and history as an undergraduate, and then I have a master's degree in international development.
Amazing. And do you feel that your degree actually helps you in this career that you have?
I do. Because in the United States, the higher education system is generally focused on liberal arts education, which means that, yes, I have a degree in literature and history, but I also studied a lot of other things. So I took physics classes, and I took art, and I took philosophy, and I took a religion course. So I have a lot of general knowledge, not all of it equally useful, but it, I think, helps make us pretty well-rounded and really good problem solvers and critical thinkers, which is really important in diplomacy.
And what has been the most rewarding part of representing the USA abroad?
Wow. I love representing my country abroad because I think the people-to-people connections are so important. I think it's so important for someone to hear directly from an American who can share their point of view or talk about where they're from, especially when we think about the United States. There are so many preconceived notions because U.S. popular culture is so prevalent, like in Brazil. You all watch American television shows and movies and listen to our music, but it's very different when you speak to someone about their experience. So for me, the thing I'm most proud of is getting paid to do that. So it's such an honor because I'm from a small town, a very normal family.
Where were you born?
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah. So it's a big honor to be able to represent my country.
And what did you know about Brazil before coming to Brazil? And what changed after living here for a while? How long have you been living here? 1 year?
Over a year. I've been here since last June, so about 15 months now.
What surprised you the most?
I'm so surprised, and I shouldn't be, but I'm still surprised by how diverse Brazil is. I knew Brazil was a big country because it's obviously a big country, right? Just how rich that diversity is in terms of regional accents and food and culture and just geographic diversity, like the cool, beautiful things that this country has. You can go on a waterfall hike in a canyon, or you can go to the beach, or you can hike a mountain, or I went to Lençóis Maranhenses. I mean,
Never been there.
It's beautiful. But it's such an incredible country, and I knew that because I was always excited to come here, but I was just surprised by how much I love it. Really.
Nice. And now another question about this process of becoming a diplomat. Could you choose the place where you would like to come, or they chose for you? Brazil was chosen for you, and then, okay, you have 6 months to learn Portuguese.
Yes and yes. It's a bureaucratic process. It's the government. So I can't say that it's 100% my choice, but it's also not my choice. So I had a list of options, and it was my responsibility to kind of put them in order. And then the human resources team makes decisions about who is the right person to send to the right place at the right time. So it's a lot of like a puzzle, like Tetris, fitting all the pieces together. So in my case, it worked out. You usually get something that you're interested in. So it very rarely does someone get sent somewhere that they don't want to work there.
Yeah.
So, for all of us who are in Brazil, we had an interest in being in Brazil.
Yeah. It's much better when you like the place, right? When
I have never served somewhere I didn't like.
Lucky you. Now let's talk about Brazilians who want to live or study in the USA. What advice would you give to Brazilians who are planning to study or live in or move to the United States?
So I would say, talking about studying in the United States, expand your knowledge about the U.S. education system system before you make any decisions. The system is different than the system in Brazil. It's very diverse. There are lots of options. There are lots of different types of higher education institutions in the U.S., from community colleges to focused technical universities to huge public schools, small private schools, and they're all good. So there's no wrong choice. There's only the right choice for you. So I think people get very fixated on, I must go to Harvard, I must go to MIT, and that's not necessarily the best option for everybody. You want to have a school that fits your personality, that's, do you want a rural location? Do you want a big city? Do you want bustling big campus where you're just one of many? Do you want small classes? So there's just so much opportunity that it really, I think my biggest piece of advice is get educated before you make a decision about all the options. And on that, we're here to help with that. So we have Education USA centers all over Brazil, which are free education advising centers that have staff professionally trained to help Brazilians understand the U.S. education system, help them apply to schools, and help them apply for scholarships to help pay for it as well.
I would love to apply for a scholarship. I would
Me
love
too.
to study in the USA. I've never studied abroad. I'd love to study at a university in the USA.
Like a higher education.
Oh, I would love to do that. So can any Brazilian apply? How does it work? I'm interested, genuinely interested now.
I mean, there's no restriction on age. I mean, I will say like the majority of students, are kind of in the 18 to 24
You're
age
not
frame.
almost 40 like me.
But it doesn't matter.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. It's never too late. And there are a lot of people who go back and do a second degree, or they go back to school. They never went. And so especially at the community college and like state university level, I think you're more likely to see students who are doing part-time degrees and are either working and studying, or maybe someone who had a career and then wants to make a complete pivot and do something new is going back to school and getting a totally different degree. So no, it's never too late.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
And many Brazilians, I'm sure you know about this, but many Brazilians, when they think of the USA, when they think about traveling to the United States, what's the first thing that comes to their minds?
Disney?
Yeah, going to Disney. So what would you say to us Brazilians about your country? Well,
All right.
Disney's fine, but
It's
what else?
fine.
You could also go to this place.
Listen, I tell people this all the time, actually. So I'm really glad you asked this question because yes, Disney's fine. I've been to Disney. However, I encourage more people to go to the national parks. So the U.S. has one of, in my opinion, the best national park systems in the world. They are truly beautiful places, very well organized, very well supported by the U.S. government in terms of resources and staffing. They're clean, they're safe. And it really is, I think, an amazing way to understand the United States is to visit our national parks.
I visited the Muir Woods in California, in San Francisco. Amazing. And it was not expensive. The entrance was very cheap. And I remember there was a guy, a teacher, I don't know, teaching any kids who were there.
The rangers.
Talking, that was so cute. I thought, oh my God, this is so nice.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I had an opportunity to do a road trip from the East Coast to the West Coast and back again.
How long did it take?
7 weeks. But that was because I went very slow and spent time in each place. But to drive from, for example, Washington, D.C. to Seattle without being a crazy just drive, it's going to take at least a week because it's far. It's really far. And that's a lot of driving. That's like basically driving all day, every day. The U.S. is big, like Brazil. There's just so much to see. And it's so many beautiful places. So national parks.
But go to Disney if you want to, and then visit the national parks.
Florida has national parks. So you could go to Disney, and then you could go to the Everglades, or you could go down to, there's a national park off the coast of southern Florida. So there's parks all over the country.
And what's your favorite place in the USA and in Brazil?
It's really hard to say what my favorite place is in either country because it's kind of my mood. So it's like, what's my favorite beach in the United States? It's the Outer Banks in North Carolina, which is my part. North Carolina is in the southeastern part of the U.S. and there's a national park in North Carolina that's the Outer Banks National Seashore, and it is a protected beach, so there's no development, and it's just beautiful. It's very peaceful. There are wild ponies. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wild ponies.
Wild ponies
At the beach. That's something we don't have here.
No. Mountains. I love the mountains in Colorado, and they're beautiful. They're tall, and they're very striking to look at. I'm from New England. So in terms of like small towns, I love New England small towns because they have a vibe that is just very American. very American. I feel very at home there. In Brazil, I mean, Bahia is like for beaches and culture and just kind of the vibe. Bahia has impressed me. You know, I haven't had an opportunity yet to like visit every state in Brazil.
Have you visited the south of Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul?
No, not yet.
That's where I'm from.
Not
That's
yet.
where, yeah, you need to go there.
I know. I have a very long list of places.
Yeah, and it's not the type of place that really represents the stereotype
course.
you have of Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's cold there.
Yeah.
In winter time, and we have a different kind of we have all the traditions that gringos,
Yes.
foreigners, they never heard about our traditions in the south. So I think you should visit there. It's a beautiful place. We had a huge problem last year. I don't know if you've heard about the flood.
floods,
Yeah. We're still trying to recover, but it's a nice place to visit.
Yeah, I have a very long list of places to visit in Brazil, and I'm slowly but surely ticking them off of my list.
And what American cultural aspects do you miss the most while living in Brazil? Is there anything you miss about your country? Maybe the food, hot dog. I'm just
There's
kidding.
hachi doggies here, and your hachi doggy is
Much better than the ones we have. They're different.
They're different. They're different.
You're a diplomat.
You can't say that they're better. They're different. You know, I've spent so much of my adult life living in different countries. You know, yes, of course, there are things I miss about the United States. Like and it's more experiences and people. So I miss my family. I miss my friends. I miss U.S. holidays and celebrating them in the United States. So like Halloween in the United States is huge, and it's celebrated in other countries too, but it's just not the same. So that's when I'm most homesick, is around like specific events or holidays.
And white Christmas.
And white Christmas. I'm from New England, so I
Never snows there?
it snows a lot there. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
so for me, Christmas should be cold.
Yeah, so you're not in the right place because Christmas for us means
Beach. Yeah. So this year I'll go home for Christmas. I stayed in Brazil last year for Christmas, and I loved having the Brazilian Christmas experience.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
I know.
Yeah.
And do you like Brazilian music? And
I do.
Yeah. So films, I don't know, have you ever seen any Brazilian?
As a person who is not just professionally interested in public diplomacy, but also personally, like I like this stuff. I like culture. I like understanding a country through its art and its culture and its language. So for me, even when I was learning Portuguese, I started listening immediately to Brazilian music and a variety, everything from the samba and bossa nova from, the 60s and 70s to pop music to sertanejo, everything. So music is a really wonderful way to start to understand a culture and to improve your language. It's a great way to improve your language, actually. I've been to some shows, some concerts here that I really enjoyed. I've been to Brazilian rock concerts, so Paralamas do Sucesso.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I've also gone to see a lot of American artists here. Went to see Mariah Carey. I'm going to go see Bad Bunny when he comes later this year. So
I'm going to the Guns N' Roses concert next year. Do you like Guns N' Roses?
I loved Guns N' Roses when I was in school.
I'm still a teenager. That's why I love them. No, but I really do. I'm my favorite band.
And using Brazilian music and culture to understand, not just as an educational tool, but also because I like it.
Because you like
I
it.
like it.
Who's your favorite artist? Can you mention one at least?
Brazilian?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I can't answer this question about American music. Like, I can tell you who I listen to a lot. I really like I like Seu Jorge and I like Ana Castela. So that tells you everything about me. I'm a little bit all over the place, right? So I really love the diversity of the music here, that you've got everything, and I like listening to the radio here too. And when I drive, I always listen to Rádio Disney because they play everything. And this is not an endorsement. This is just a fact. I like using music to help understand a place.
Me too. And I think we could switch to Portuguese now, as you speak Portuguese as a second language. Só pra gente fazer uma última pergunta aqui.
Tá bom.
Sobre aprendizado de idiomas, né? Eu achei muito legal o que você falou sobre o aprendizado de idiomas com música. Foi assim que eu me interessei em aprender inglês também. E eu uso isso até hoje, até nos meus vídeos aqui no canal, né, gente? Vocês sabem, no Instagram também eu sempre trago isso da música, porque a arte, ela nos prende. Então a gente acaba aprendendo o idioma como um pacote geral. Eu estou aprendendo sobre algo, mas o idioma tá junto, né? Então não é uma aula chata, estou aprendendo uma gramática, né?
E algumas expressões, e pra mim é muito mais fácil lembrar as coisas que eu posso lembrar a música inteira e que disse ela quando ela as expressões e mais em um sentido mais como a gente fala também, porque quando eu estava aprendendo português era um português mais formal. Então eu queria ter um jeito com meus amigos, com as pessoas com quem eu trabalho, que
tem mais contato, né?
Sim.
Mas no seu caso, é super importante saber como falar em cada situação. Imagina, você tá aqui no consulado, não vai chegar aí, mano, beleza?
Não pode. Não pode.
Pô, meu. Não dá, né?
Não dá.
E o que você diria, assim, pros brasileiros que têm muito medo da questão do sotaque? Ai, meu Deus, eu não posso ter um sotaque porque não vão me entender, ou então vou ser visto como alguém pior.
Esquece. Especialmente falando sobre inglês. Porque inglês é uma língua franca que é falada pelo mundo inteiro. Então, os americanos, falando sobre o meu país, estamos muito acostumados de ouvir sotaque. Esse não apresenta nenhum problema, porque dentro dos Estados Unidos, igual aqui no Brasil, pessoas falam com sotaque diferente do norte, do sul. Eu sei que eu falo com um sotaque em português, mas você me entende, né?
Tô perfeitamente bem.
Então, esquece, não se preocupe sobre o sotaque.
E a última pergunta sobre idiomas. Qual é, assim, a dica ou a ação que você tomou que você acha assim, isso funcionou para eu aprender português e todos os outros idiomas que eu aprendi? Tem que fazer
eu tive que aprender como eu aprendo.
Entender como o seu processo, né?
Sim, meu processo, porque o processo meu talvez é diferente do processo de você. E cada pessoa tem uma coisa que vai ajudar ou não. No meu caso, eu tenho que ver coisas. Eu aprendi que eu sou um visual learner. Então, eu uso as músicas, mas sempre com as letras.
Eu também.
E também, quando eu estou assistindo um filme, eu uso os subtitles também. Porque, para mim, ouvir e ler ao mesmo tempo, it sticks.
Mesma coisa pra mim. Assim, também sou uma visual learner.
Mas quando eu comecei na escola, por exemplo, eu estudei francês, mas não falo. Porque foi uma maneira de aprender que não deu certo pra mim. E porque naquela época, eu não sabia como eu precisei aprender uma linguagem. Mas depois disso...
Mesma coisa como o inglês na escola aqui no Brasil, né? A gente tem ali aquela disponibilidade do idioma, mas é só mais uma matéria. Aí até dá aquele clique e você fala, poxa, eu podia até ter aproveitado o que eu aprendi na escola pra me comunicar.
Usar a língua... ajuda bastante numa situação real. Viajar, ter amigos, da verdade, amigos, amigas com quem você pode falar, praticar. E quando você sente que eu estou usando esse para comunicar da verdade, você não vai
muito bom. Você já pagou algum mico com português? Tipo assim, ai meu Deus, que fora, falei um negócio errado ou não?
Every day. Every day.
É normal, a gente vai passar por isso todos os dias. I just want to thank you so much for being here. Muito obrigada por ter aceitado participar aqui. Eu espero que vocês tenham gostado desse papo. Me conta o quanto você conseguiu entender aqui nos comentários de 0 a 10, se tá melhorando aqui o seu listening, e deixa uma mensagem aqui pra Rachel, que ela vai ler depois também. Eu acho. Vou te dar o link do canal.
Com certeza.
Eu já falei que ela vai ler.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.